Fraction means a part of a whole. For example, let's say you have a big circle, and inside that big circle you have another circle, let's say a small one. This is a fraction of this, which is the whole circle. This big circle is the whole circle, and this is just a fraction of that circle. So a part of something is a fraction of that thing. If you have 12 mangoes, 6 out of 12 is a fraction. 2 out of 12 is a fraction. 1 out of 12 is a fraction, and many more like that. So let's say you have a cube, and this is divided into 4. Let's say fraction A, fraction B, fraction C, and fraction D. If you give someone A out of A, B, C, D, it means you give the person 1 out of 4 fractions. So the parts 1 and the whole 4. So when you have a fraction like this, you see that there are two numbers that feature, which is the number on top and the number below. The number on top is called the numerator, while the number below is called the denominator. So in a proper fraction, when a fraction is normal, you have to see that the number below should always be greater than the number above. That makes the fraction proper. For example, it is possible that you give someone A. You can give someone A and B, which is 2 out of 4. You can give someone A, B, C, which is 3 out of 4. But the moment you give someone everything, you have nothing left. So you give someone the whole and not the fraction. So that at that point, when you have 4 over 4, it is no more proper. It is called improper fraction. So on this basis, we have 3 types of fraction. We have the proper fraction, we have the improper fraction, and we have the mixed fraction or the mixed number. So when the numerator, let's call it n, is lesser than the denominator, that is a proper fraction. When the numerator is equal to the denominator, that is improper fraction. Or when the numerator is greater than the denominator, that is also improper fraction. So you can always convert improper fraction to mixed fraction and mixed fraction to improper fraction. So for example, let's say you have improper fraction 3 over 2. You can convert it to mixed fraction, because the meaning of this is that you have 2 over 2 and then you have 1 over 2. So 2 over 2 is the same as 1. Then that is 1 whole number 1 over 2. So there are different ways you can write a fraction, not just as 3 over 2, 1 over 2, and so on. You can write it as percentage, and you can write as decimal. If you want to write as percentage, it is very simple. Just pick any number you want to convert to percentage and multiply it by 100%. Because 100% means 100 over cent. And cent also means 100. So that is 1. So when you multiply something by 100%, it's same as multiplying it by 1. Now let's say you have 1 over 2 times 100%. 2 here 1, 2 here 50. That is 50%. You can also have 3 over 2 times 100%. 2 here 1, 2 here 50. 3 times 50, that is 150%. Then apart from this, you also have decimal. Decimal are those numbers you used to see with dots in between. For example, 1.5, 3.7, 0.001, and so on. As far as there's a dot in the number, it means that number is a decimal. Now, when you have a decimal, how do you convert it to a fraction, or how do you convert a fraction to a decimal? It's very simple. Just imagine that numbers, apart from the units in your place value, apart from 10 units, you also have, after the decimal, some values. Like, let's say this is 1, 5, this is your units, this is your 10, 100, and so on. You also have tenths, you have hundredths, you have thousands, and so on like that. Tenth is spelled as tenth, hundredths, and so on like that. So when you have any number here, it means that number is 10 times lesser than the value of the number if it is here. For example, if you have 1 on the unit and you have 1 on the tenth, it means if you multiply this by 10, this particular number will become 1 in the unit. So because if you multiply this by 10, it will also become 1 here. So let's now say you want to convert 1 over 2 to decimal. You just have to say 1, and you want to divide this 1 by 2, and this 1 is 0.00, and so on like that. So when you divide this by 2, just the same way you get 5 when you divide 10 by 2, the same way you get 0.50 when you divide this by 2, because you are now considering all this 0. And when you divide, just imagine this is just like putting a dot in between hundreds, and when you divide it, you are going to have 50, but just that's going to be behind the dot. So that's about decimal. Another thing we should know is that there are some ways that fractions relate with each other. For example, let's say you have a fraction 1 over 2, and you have another fraction 50 over 100. If you look at this, they have the same value, because when you say 50 over 100 and you want to reduce it to the lowest term, you will say 50 here 2, 50 here 1, and it's still 1 over 2. So this fraction can be called equivalents. They have the same value, so they are equivalents. You can have 2 over 3 and also have 4 over 6. They are equivalents. So anything that have the same value are equivalents. And apart from that, we also have reciprocal. When you have 1 over 2 and then you have 2 over 1, they are reciprocal, because if you multiply these two together, it will give you 1. Let's multiply it. 1 times 2 is equal to 2. 2 times 1 is equal to 2. So 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1 over 1, which is same as 1. So when you have A over B and you have B over A, they are what? They are reciprocal. But when you have A over B and you have 2A over 2B, they are what? Equivalent. Because 2 can divide 2 and you still be left with A over B. Practice these questions, they will help you a lot. Thanks for watching.